And two.
Usually my problem is I'm not lit enough. In here I'm overlit. I feel like I'm on PBS.
I can't do these things without being entirely lit.
At least partially.
You can't help but be lit, Troy.
I know, right?
You are incandescent.
Hello, everybody. I am testing this. I'm not sure if you are able to hear us.
Everybody who can hear us, give a shout out.
Right.
Yeah, wave your
Nice
hand.
and loud.
Not that we can hear you, but...
Right.
Yeah, if you can hear us, rub your tummy and pat your head.
It was a firm but polite head nod.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear you, Alex.
Oh, good.
All right, they can see and hear us all.
Oh, good.
Holy
It
smokes.
is another Monday miracle.
All right, well, so everyone, you should be taking a look at our, oh yeah, Sean Vieira says, missed you last week. We missed you too, Sean. We, between the last time we did the program and today, we did we had a little live play, a little actual play, which was a ton of fun and good volume all around. Nice.
Hey, we love to hear that.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely great.
Yeah.
Howdy, AJ Real. Good to see you. Apook mentions nice new background. Well, so I've got behind you folks it's sort of a space meets computer animated background.
It's very good. Masterminds.
Okay.
Let's see. Our friends on Twitch are saying that they're getting a little bit of an error. I'm not sure what that means.
Ask them to refresh.
Yeah, refresh for me there, my friend. I believe that their name is One Rune.
That might work better.
Yeah, let us know let us know, do that refresh. It's Mutants and Masterminds Monday. My name is Troy. I'm the disembodied voice that hangs out with these amazing people that you get to see on screen. And I can see your chat, my friend, over there on Twitch, and I'm not sure why your video player won't load. Boy, I wish I had enough tech knowledge to help you out, but I got just enough to screw up my stuff. So let's see. Okay, well, so here's what we've got cooking. Crystal Frazier's here. Hi, Crystal.
Hello.
And we've got
Coming
Steve.
to you live from my grandmother's room.
That's right. We got Steve Kenson,
Hey, everybody.
and we got Alex Thomas.
Hi,
Alex,
everybody.
your camera's just a little dark, but I don't know what we can do. And maybe it's because they got that light over in your right hand corner.
A little backlit. Yeah.
Yeah, a little backlit.
Yeah. I might be able to turn that up.
Like an angel. A very... There we go. So, Crystal, you have got some amazing... We've all got some amazing things to talk about, but you have put some incredible work into this thing that we're calling Summer of Starhaven. Do you want to talk a bit about it?
We have all put in a ton of work for the Summer of Starhaven, but yeah, we're putting together an event. It's our first Patreon / M&M Monday crossover event. So, expect all of your favorite characters to be mashed up. We're going to combine Steve from the podcast with Steve from the Patreon.
Dun, dun, dun.
He's still PLX. I don't know why we're spending time converting those stats.
But yeah,
Perfect.
we are kicking off an event this week that'll take us through the whole summer, the next 3 months, where we are going to detail the not intergalactic, not even interstellar, the off-world city of Starhaven that is began as an alien refugee colony and is quickly growing to be its own distinct settlement. And it's a settlement in need of heroes because there are already predators preying on these desperate people.
And what will it grow into, you ask? That depends a lot on the responses from our patrons.
Yep. We're putting together a bunch of polls and figuring out, we're going to let you vote on what kind of city this develops into, what kind of things you want this book to showcase. And at the very end, we will have you collectively put together a big bad villain and vote on things like their agenda, their powers, their background. And when it's all over, we're going to collect everything we've made for the Patreon and add more material to it and release a book, The Guide to Starhaven, that'll include a gazetteer for the city and some campaign suggestions and an adventure to get you started, The Siege of Starhaven.
So fun. Now, hang on. So the patrons are the only ones that get to have any fun?
Well, until later this year, yes.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, that's amazing. I want to share with our friends that you can check out our Patreon, and you can get involved for minimal input or minimal sort of investment. And you can do that by visiting patreon.com/mutantsand masterminds.
Hey, that reminds me, we've got a villain going up this week too. Who's going up,
Yes.
Troy?
This week, I believe, you know what? I'm going to look through our pile of villainy, and I'm going to, we'll talk about it before the show is over. The last one we
Fair enough.
released was the, I just did it very recently, and I forget. So I will let you know here in just a moment.
We wrapped up the Golden Age Crime League, and
Oh yeah, we've been doing solo villains.
Yeah, we're on the
Solo
solo
villains,
villains
right,
now.
yes. We're well
Was
past that.
Jasmine Sin the last one?
Jasmine
Or
was the
that 2 weeks
first
ago?
one.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
Silver Hyena.
so that was
apparently.
it. Silver Hyena.
Oh, there we go.
That was it.
Nice.
Nice. Nicholas Morrow says, "Make a new villain." Thank you, Sean. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Sean, of course, one of the Sean Duggan says, "A silver hyena." Of course, I should have asked. Sean Vieira asks, "Plus maps, right, Crystal?"
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
We're going to get a map of Europa, a map of Starhaven. If you want maps of anything else, you should probably tell us.
Mhm.
We're figuring out what the art budget's going to be and what kind of art to order now. So
Yep.
You know, that's Jonesy says, "Pile of villains trademark."
Mhm.
I want to say hello to Sangrelu on Twitch. I'm curious if you were able to if you're able to hear us. We were having someone who was reporting some challenges with their audio, video, etc. But so
Sorry
here's
to
a
hear that.
great question I have. So when it comes, here's my question, which is so great. It's great in that I'm very curious. So many people may not be very familiar with how these things get started, and what are the various, is it a very clear, step-by-step process, just add brain, or is it something a little more creative?
for how a book comes together, or
Yeah. For when we're putting a book like this together,
Mhm.
what are the things that you have to think
There's-
about? Because you have to put the order in for art now.
Mhm.
Mhm. There's sadly no Schoolhouse Rock video for the tabletop game industry that explains how a book comes into being.
Yet.
Yet.
If you've
I'm an
ever been to
idea.
a Gen Con karaoke night, you know that's a good thing.
Right. This is true. This is true.
I love it. Well, so, as far as what are the steps as we're looking at this Summer of Starhaven and rolling out all this content and doing all this collaborative stuff, the X factor really is all the people that'll be contributing. So what
is.
what can they anticipate sort of seeing as we move through the steps?
Well, I mean, Steve, you've probably got the most publishing credits out of any of us. Do you want to go through the sort of big broad strokes of what a book normally goes through, or?
So ordinarily, you'll come up with the concept of a book, and concepts can come from all kinds of places. It can be whether the line needs this particular kind of book, or the publishing company wants, the ownership says we want to do this kind of book, or the fans are all demanding a particular kind of book. Or the like, more often than not, basically, the developer will pitch, I want to do this, and this book, this year. And, the management will go, okay, sure. So you'll start with that concept. Usually that concept will grow into a fully fledged outline and a breakdown of the structure of the book. I know that Crystal likes to outline very visually, which I think is a great way of doing it. Others of us, do it in a much more just sort of textual way, and there tends to be a lot of numbers of words rather than numbers of pages, but it's the same basic concept. Then once you've got a solid outline, it's a process of figuring out who is writing the various parts of the book. And most of the time, and these days in the industry, it's assigning different writers to different parts. It's relatively rare that you have a book with one author from start to finish. That usually tends to be a kind of a project that has its own timeline. That it just gets done whenever the author is done with it. But on a usual publishing schedule, we don't have the kind of time to assign one person to write 150,000 words to put a book together. So basically, writing assignments get handed out. People do their drafts. Hopefully, most people hit their deadlines. Some people don't.
Fingers crossed.
Usually, when we're doing development, we build in a certain amount of flexibility for those kind of eventualities. But then once you've got the raw text in hand, that's when the developer gets to dig into it, to do the initial process of saying, okay, this is along the lines of what we need. This needs work here. And ideally, we get to go back to the authors and say, okay, this is good. This needs work. Do a final draft, and we'll get much more polished text to work with in the end. Then basically you get editing, final development, basically, then editing, then the edited book goes into layout, while usually somewhere along that time, the developer is putting together an art order, or working with the art director to put together an art order to figure out what all of the art is going to be in the book. And then you have the whole process. The whole process sort of starts again in that, the art director assigns all the artists their various projects. And again, you hope they're all on time and they're all on spec, and that they don't need too much revision. The book goes through the layout process. Ideally, once it's all, at least all the text is laid out, the book goes through a proofreading process. And you're getting to the final point where usually these days you'll get a complete PDF product that'll be from the final layout of the book that'll be ready for release, and the book's files will go off to the printer to actually print the book, and then there's print proofs and all of that. So I think in terms of when we're looking at Starhaven as a project, we're talking about involving our patrons in a lot of that early part of that process. A lot of when we're talking about somewhere between the outline and the writing parts, we have some blank spots that we're looking at.
I love it. I love that they get to not only witness the sausage being made, but to be the sausage maker.
They get to spice it a little bit.
I love it. Love it. There are a couple comments here I want to grab. Let's see here. I love this. Jonesy's like, I'm just a pitch. A little pitch.
Well, you're a pitch. You're a lover.
I'm a pitch.
But yeah, we basically got everybody involved in this. We have the book itself laid out. We are getting people involved in the next step, which is figuring out what goes into different pieces of the book. Some things we've decided ahead of time, like we know the first spread of the book is going to be a big intro to this is Starhaven and here's what's going on and they need heroes. And we know there'll be a couple of villains in the end, and Alex already has the adventure outlined. So we know what good size chunks the books are going to be, but things that help set flavor, like who's leading this ragtag city of refugees, who is one of the big bad villains, kind of defining the threats against them. What kind of weird locations on Europa are they going to turn to
Right.
for resources or produce threats? Or
We talked about the notion of, for example, of having a particular focus on certain locations, and we know that's blocked out in the structure of the book, but exactly which of those locations is going to depend on what people are most interested in seeing.
Yep.
And that has been a really cool process. Just the three of us chatting and
Mm-hmm.
slacking about it or being video chatting about it. It's been a fun
yeah,
creative.
we also, the three of us, sat down and pitched 3 different villains that'll also go in the book. So
Yeah.
you'll get, I think, a fun little menagerie in the back there.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I mean, that's the big top-down pitch. Today, the Patreon, well, I don't know about today. This week, the Patreon is going to be releasing that preview of that whole "This is Starhaven and here's what's going on" article that's going to go in the book itself. It's basically the first draft of the text that'll end up in the book. And if you as patrons want to see something changed or want things added onto it, let us know early and we can incorporate that.
Crystal, I saw that Sean Vieira was asking, at what point do you figure out the book's page count and how many pages things are?
I mean, that's, in the game industry at least, that tends to be something you go in with early. Like, if you're doing a D&D book, it's, gosh, how big are D&D books now? But
usually 256 maybe.
Yeah, you'll go in with 2, knowing you have to do a 256 page book. You lose 1 page to the OGL, a page to the credits in the front, another page to your table of contents, another page to legalese or something like that. Mm-hmm. So you figure out early on, well, I have to fill this many pages with text and use that to estimate your word counts. Yeah. If you're writing fiction, usually you'll just figure out like how long a book your publisher wants, like 150,000 words or 100,000 words or something like that. And then, that's what determines your final page count.
RPG books are much more layout sensitive as far as that goes. But once you've established the trade dress for a line, you can pretty well estimate what your page counts are based on your average number of words per page and how much art coverage you want to have overall.
Yep. And so we can, what I like to do is build a pagination, which is just a fancy word for a spreadsheet in Excel. That's like, this is page 1 and here's what goes on it. This is page 2, here's what goes on it. This is page 3, here's what goes on it. And that way I can estimate how much art we want to order, how many pages we give to like all of the legally important things, or how many pages of ads we might have. And then that gives me an idea of, well, we're going to have 3 chapters. So we need 3 half-page pieces of art to begin those chapters. And then we've got, you usually want a piece of art, 1 piece of art for every other spread, sometimes a piece of art for every spread. It depends on the publisher. And then you go through and figure out, well, I have this many pages to work with and this many spreads, and sort of work backwards from there.
Sean Duggan, was asking about aliens. And one of the great things about working in tabletop role-playing, or comic books for that matter, as opposed to film and television, is that we don't have to put makeup on anybody.
Yes.
So we have an unlimited budget to create weird aliens.
I love the way
that goes.
Hal is going to argue with you on that.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. But he's wrong.
I do love how Sean asked the question. It was sort of like this question of like, can we have, just not humans in different kinds of hats? Really make them alien.
Well, the lore are definitely, aliens in different kinds of hats. But we have like the Hexam, which are octopoid aliens that have a different life cycle and different perspective. And
yeah, we definitely have some non-humanoid aliens to deal with as far as that goes. So I think that there'll be some interesting things there.
I love it. Let's see. Nicholas has a question here. It says, how would you challenge this may be a question that we'll save towards the end because it's not necessarily Starhaven related, but so in speaking about and getting to unpack the alien piece a little bit more, when you got Starhaven, you also create a space for people in their own creative way to add aliens to this mix, right? I mean, it's not like you only get the aliens that you can look in this picture.
One of the great things about Starhaven as a concept is that it's basically a refugee community from, galactic civilization. So you have an excuse to basically add any aliens you want to it and say, well, there just happen to be a handful of this alien race that I made up that are amongst this refugee group. They made it onto this transport, and here they are.
And we've got a couple of pre-made alien templates in Cosmic Handbook and a few more alien templates in the Super Team Handbook. So you can go in and use one of those, or you can just build whatever you want and describe that as your alien race.
Yep.
Alien species.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
I know we're going to end up sort of introducing more aliens just by virtue. I'm like,
I did just with my alien or with my villain.
I was just thinking that. I was like, not a spoiler, but Crystal's villain is definitely going to be the introduction of another alien, to the setting. So
I suppose we could turn her into a template, maybe offer it early or something. I don't know. Do people want that kind of preview? I
don't know. It sounds
Chat,
like
what do you think?
Sean is saying more alien templates. Yes.
Yeah, definitely hoping for more. I see that.
Well, we may have to make room in the book if people want more alien templates. Oh gosh, what was she called? What did we call the? Oh, Dentarans. That's what I'm calling them.
I love it. So talk to me about some of these alien templates. Like, I mean, can we just explore sort of maybe creating or kind of what a particular alien could look like or act or be?
Yeah. I mean, the templates are just quick little collections of statistics that you add on to account for unusual abilities or cultural differences, things like that. So,
I mean, the thing about Mutants and Masterminds is it's a very modular system. So basically, we can take any set of abilities and turn them into a package and say, if you want this, well, you take all of these abilities and they cost this many points. So if you want to be, a fluorine breathing hexapod, here are all their traits as a species, and they cost this much, and there you go. You're off to a start. And we can do templates for different species. We can do templates for different professions. Here are all the traits for somebody who is going to be a space pilot, for example.
And I forgot we have the true omnivore template in
yes,
the Cosmic Handbook.
Oh, please explain.
Okay, so to work on Mutants and Masterminds, you have to have been a giant nerd for the Legion of Superheroes. And anybody who's read the Legion of Superheroes comic books knows that the coolest alien superhero is Matter Eater Lad.
Without a doubt.
100%.
His power is to eat matter.
Yes.
Me too, Matter Eater Lad.
But unlike the matter that we eat, he eats all matter.
I'm just the PL0 version of Matter Eater Lad.
Right, exactly. We're just a very weak version of that.
Pook says Matter Eater Lad. Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, a lot of the templates we have in the Cosmic Handbook is just us giving powers to an alien that we showed somewhere in the art for that book. Like we have the Shoon, who are their only real shtick is they have 4 arms. Because there's a Star Knight in our Star Knight picture that we use all the time of a 4-armed humanoid Star Knight.
I'm not going to lie. I was hoping that you were going to say, and they're shaped like a shoe, and they have laces that grab you. And
No, but they have a shoe-centric culture. No, I don't know. We actually don't detail their culture at all.
Glove-centric culture with all those hands.
Well, no, gloves are ubiquitous. Everybody's got gloves.
Right.
But you only have 1 pair of shoes a day.
That's true.
I see.
We actually don't detail them much in the book itself, so.
We could run with that. How deep do you? I've noticed in as I've absorbed more and more Mutants and Masterminds information, much like Matter Eater Lad, sort of thinker brainer guy. When you are thinking about culture and that kind of stuff, how deep do you get into that? Do you leave that? Are there species or stories that you kind of go real deep, and then other things that you decide to maybe kind of leave that for the players or the DMs to kind of figure out?
Oh, I mean that's gonna vary a lot depending on the game. Like Mutants and Masterminds, we leave it pretty open-ended.
Right.
Like the comics, unless it's a space exploration comic, you don't get to see aliens like talking about their culture very much.
Yeah.
They're like all collected in some kind of battle world, or they're aliens who show up on Earth or something along those lines.
Yeah, unless their culture is like really germane to a plot, it's probably not going to come up.
Yeah, like the Scree and their child abandonment problem.
All right. Yeah.
It's not really a problem. They seems to work out fine for them, but
3 hours of the GM just pontificating on the historical backgrounds of every single alien you run into.
Yes.
Don't joke. That's happened to me before.
Speaking as someone who can be that GM on occasion.
Yep, I think every GM can be that GM.
Yeah, but my crafted backstory, we don't care.
Why don't you care?
Right?
Quit talking to the bartender.
Right.
I thought you loved me.
No. If you wanted love, you shouldn't have become a GM.
No.
Truth.
GMing is the hardest thing you do for fun.
Or the nicest way to hurt yourself.
Both of which would make excellent t-shirts, by the way.
Making a note.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a question. Speaking of t-shirts, I have a question for folks who are watching. Would you pick up a Mutants and Masterminds Monday t-shirt? I've got so many ideas. Not the least of which is, what is it? Actual omnivore? No, what was it?
True omnivore.
True omnivore. I love that. I mean, it's sort of a friendly warning on a t-shirt. But let us know if you pick one up, because I would, and I'll just make a bunch of them for myself, unless you want to buy one, and then I'll make one for you too. Awesome. Let's see. Sorry. Real quick, I just want to say that our friend. This is interesting. Sean Vieira, speaking of Matter Eater Lad, says, "Damn straight, Matter Eater Lad rules. Ever heard the theory that he got cosmically lucky after eating the miracle machine?"
Yes. Well, I don't know. We got cosmically lucky because he ended up in an asylum for
I was going to say.
I love it. Oh, we've got two positive votes for t-shirts, and definitely some people want some powered by M&M. I like that. Stickers and tees, yeah. All right, thinking about that. Crystal, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Oh, I've completely lost track of it, so no worries.
That's what we do here at Mutants Masterminds Monday. Fantastic. So we're talking about Starhaven. We've got aliens on the docket. What are some other things that we want to impart to our pals as we continue to kick off our Summer of Starhaven?
Did we want to talk about politics? I know you're not supposed to talk about politics on a
we could show dedicated to politics.
Yeah, we'll go into a lot more detail on next week's show, but right now your first big task as Mutants and Masterminds fan is going to be helping us decide who runs Starhaven. Because it's a refugee community. It's a bunch of people who are struggling. They need some outside support. So whatever government they elect has got to pick their ally carefully. And there's always going to be a trade-off when you ally with somebody. So you're going to have choices like aligning with Earth or aligning with what's left of the Lore Republic. And if you're really, really looking for security, we'll call it, aligning with the StarCon.
A firm guiding hand.
Right. As he likes to call it.
I love it. Apook says, let's talk about politics and religion. No, thank you.
We haven't even talked about alien religions.
Yeah.
No, we haven't. I mean, you could really have a lot of fun with that. Just hours of fun. All the players go to church.
I have a supervillain who fully intends to have a lot of fun talking about alien religion.
Right.
This is interesting. So, Nicholas Morrow says starships and then random table of odd jobs to support the refugees.
Oh, that's an idea.
Yeah.
Sean Duggan asks, anarcho-syndicalist commune?
I have to say a random junk table for the ruins would be fun, just by virtue of the sheer amount of stuff that characters can come across.
Oh, that is a good idea.
That's a
That
really
would make
good
a
idea.
great sidebar.
Right?
A Pook replying to Sean Duggan says, come see the violence inherent in the system.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, you can't get gamers together in one place.
Without a Monty Python quote at some point. It's going to
Right.
be it's really just a race to see whether it's going to be Monty Python or Princess Bride first.
True. My money's on Princess Bride, but yeah. That's because I am so young.
Strange alien whales distributing laser swords is definitely not a way to establish a government.
No,
I want to change my pitch.
Yeah, I guess we are going to have to figure out if we have space whales in the setting or not.
Mhm.
Oh, we have to.
Aren't we required to by some obscure rule somewhere?
That actually expired with the Comics Code Authority, so we are
okay.
free. Yeah,
Good.
I mean that was mandated as a way of getting around the gays, which actually run everything in space.
Sure. Of
Sure.
course.
And if you
I
don't
thought
think
it was a Jack Kirby thing.
if you don't
Oh, yeah,
think
Jack-
space whales are gay, I mean, come on.
Right.
Oh, exactly. That's why everybody thinks space whales are gay now.
That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah, and if I do recall, I'm trying to remember. I think I made a space whale noise once upon a time in one of our
Yes.
prior. Yeah, a very compelling noise. Sean Vieira says one vote for space whales. Sean Vieira asks, speaking of aliens, anyone read Illegal Aliens by the late Nick Pilata and Phil Foglio of Girl Genius fame?
Gosh, that was an old one. Yeah.
Got some
No.
interesting ideas, and provides a link there for us to check out. And Jonesy asks, so aligning with Arctic Fox isn't an option?
It's always an option.
I mean, it is. He's just not going to be able to give you many resources.
Right.
It's a long walk to
Yeah.
Europa from Earth.
Yeah, it's a long way to Europa.
I love that. Jonesy votes for gay space whales. Nice. Nicholas Morrow says, treat Starhaven like an old beloved vehicle that breaks down frequently and needs new fixes every other session. That reminds me of a certain Star Wars trope, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I believe that is the state of affairs at Starhaven. I mean, it's
Pretty much.
50,000-year-old preserver tech that's been looted by at least 12 different crews that have plundered the city at different times. So you're kit bashing things together from Earth tech and lore tech and preserver tech and anything else people brought with them. And
Yeah.
any given system's only going to run on Thursdays.
If you want to be a miracle working engineer, it is definitely the place to be.
That is so fun. Real quickly here, Matthew Tyler, I think, is onto something. Where there are space whales, there are space whalers. There's a conflict right there.
Whalers on the moon?
Who'da thunk? Starships and Stargates, says David Bodie.
Ooh.
And let's see here. Your civilization is still at the stage where you use the word for dirt in your planet.
Yep.
I love it.
Well, that's where you get into the element of all of the lore refugees who are stuck on Starhaven and, are so dependent on Earth, which is so backwards and primitive. And it just annoys them to no end that they are reliant on this what they think is this lost lore colony that doesn't know
a little backwater one too.
one end of a faster than light drive from the other.
They don't even have a colony on their own moon. Why are they telling us
Right?
how to live our lives?
I love that. So help me out here as a lore noob. Starhaven was something else.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Can we talk a bit about the origins? Like where did this big thing come from?
That's going to be one of our other upcoming releases. In fact,
At the end of the month, we're going to get into the timeline. But
Oh.
yeah, the big picture is that Starhaven was a preserver sort of B site while they were working on Earth.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, the preservers were this. Well, they're behind all of the big weird stuff in the Earth Prime universe. They scoured the galaxy 50,000 years ago trying to build perfect life forms and incredibly clever computers that could undo their massive screw up that'll cause the end of space and time.
Yeah, like you do.
Just like you do.
Then they mysteriously stopped doing that.
Boomers.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, boomer.
And by boomers, I mean people who are going to cause the galaxy to implode on itself with a boom.
One big
And
boom.
then basically wash their hands of it.
So yeah,
I
it
love
was abandoned, and it's been a little backwater sort of ruin for the last 50,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's been there. There's nothing to worry about. It's in no way haunted.
Right.
Yeah, it's move-in ready. It's fully furnished.
Exactly.
Don't look
It's
under the couch.
A little bit of dusting, maybe
Yeah.
a coat of paint.
Mhm.
You're good to go.
Yep. The toxic mold is neither toxic nor technically mold.
And likes
Actually,
to
it's
take
a form of fungus.
It was Daedalus' garage for like 20 years.
I do have to mention the fungus does have voting rights.
Yes.
That's right, and keep it down after 10, please.
Fungus
Okay,
has school in the morning.
right. So there's, let's see. Sean Duggan says, but we do have a lunar city.
Mm-hmm. Well, there is a lunar city.
That
We
doesn't
don't
belong to
have it, though.
I mean, we could have it.
Right?
We have it. The Earth government does not have it.
Yeah.
I love it.
There
Now,
are
Yeah. The Farsiders are not so crazy about that idea.
Apook says, new to the lore, L-O-R, capital L-O-R, lore.
Mm-hmm.
New to the
Yeah.
lore? Know your
Yeah.
lore, says Jonesy?
So yeah, the lore is so the lore were the big space dwelling super civilization.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, I've been talking a while. Do you want to take over?
So yeah, basically the lore are big outer space, highly advanced, slightly Romanesque and warlike civilization.
They're space jerks.
Right. And of course, to ensure that they are both familiar and the biggest jerks they can possibly be, they're humans.
Yeah.
The lore.
Do they
are
at least have weird haircuts?
Some of them probably do. Honestly, they probably go in for the bowl cut thing. We haven't done a lot of lore artwork, but I would not be at all surprised.
Togas.
But yeah, the lore are basically humans that the preservers transplanted from Earth. And when you take an invasive species and you put it in a good environment, soon enough they're everywhere. And the lore, because they were given that sort of leg up, built themselves a galactic civilization and also built themselves a mythology that they were the origin of humanity. And that that little backward planet on the edge of the galaxy couldn't possibly be where their majestic species came from.
I
That's
mean,
just where the lore have mullets. That's not
Mhm.
anything.
we don't
Right.
even clone our own food.
Exactly. It's ridiculous.
We've barely got nutrient paste technology.
Well, here's a question from Nick, and I want some nutrient paste. There's sometimes I just don't want to eat. Like I'm hungry, but I always say I'm hungry for something that I don't
Sure.
know. I've never
Just
eaten.
want a little
before.
breakfast
It's
paste.
it's
Yeah.
cake. It's always cake.
It probably is cake. I will say this: accidentally, I ordered an entire pie from
Accidentally.
delivery. Yeah, I got it. I was like, I thought this was going to be a hand pie. Oopsie poops. It's a
You're
two-hand pie.
sticking to it.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Look, everything's a hand pie if you're not a coward.
That's true. That's right.
I don't know why it was $37, but then I remembered it was from DoorDash.
Right.
That is actually how it happened, Alex. I'm like, what pie costs this much, and how am I? Anyway, I was
But the host
clearly
of the Yakuza Club assured me it was customary. So
I love it. So here's a couple questions. Let's see. Riley Davis says, finally, I was one rune on Twitch. Twitch seems to be busted. And it is. I don't know why. It was working fine, and now it's busted. But that's okay. We've got you over here on the YouTubes, and that's right where you need to be, my friend. We were just talking about hand pies and how anything can be a hand pie if you're not a coward. That's one for the T-shirts. Here's a question from Nicholas Morrow. Question, is there a cosmic prophecy that provides hope to the refugees?
I mean, not as written yet.
But, if one of our patrons were to, strongly suggest it.
I have a concept that's kind of the opposite of that.
Yeah, there's the prophecy. It's going to doom everyone, but that's...
Oh, yeah, there's the doom prophecy. We got tons of doom prophecies.
Calvin,
what kind of doom you want? Fire,
what kind of
darkness, screaming?
What flavor of doom? We have...
Fire screaming?
Right.
That's a new one.
Remember our guidelines. Screaming in terror is a free action.
I love this. So we've got nutrient paste with a side of doom of your choice. You'll have to let us know by joining the Patreon. That's the kind of fun that you get. Maybe the Lord created guacamole, says David.
I'd like to think that at the very least, human flavor blasting technology exceeds the lore.
Yeah, I think our snack technology has probably impressed them.
I love it.
In fact, I'm fairly sure that there's got to be some kind of an underground smuggling route getting Earth snacks to Starhaven
because people are just jonesing.
Get them there.
Look, I'm all out of Hostess, but I got some.
Well, they were being
some tasty cakes.
They were being fed out of emergency rations on Earth. I mean, the kind of donations that refugees are getting. So they probably were just like, wow, can we get these peanut butter cracker things in space?
They're like, what is flavor blasted?
Right?
Man, this macaroni and cheese is real gross until you put water in it.
That's so good. That does remind me, Alex, in our waning minutes, I want to tell you a story, a quick one. But for the holidays, I brought I was sort of in protest of someone not making the salad that I wanted, that I get every year. And they were going to make it. And when I tried to make it, it was gross. I brought my own salad, but it was just uncooked pasta in a bowl. And I set it on the table. And everyone's like, my grandmother, my aunts, my mom, they're all like, oh, that's funny, But my uncle, we'll call him Uncle Dum Dum, comes up and he goes, oh, hey, did you make this? No. And I looked at him in the eyes and I said, yes, I made that. My own two hands, brought it here. Happy holidays. And he said, oh, good. And out of obligation, took some and put him on his plate. And I thought, he's really committing to the bit when he sat down. And this is literally dry macaroni in a bowl. I mean, and then it dawned on me. I'm like, does he never go to the kitchen? Like, has he never cooked a thing in his life?
No.
And he literally takes a spoon up to his mouth, and I wasn't going to stop him. I'm watching him. I'm thinking, this guy is going to eat it. He takes a bite, and you hear this crunch, crunch. And he leans over to my aunt and says, this salad is not very good.
This is terrible, yeah.
I've got to tell you, Troy, it's a little al dente for me.
Yeah, right.
Your crackers are stale, Troy.
Yeah, these are real bad. Real bad. Don't tell Troy, but I don't like his cooking. So good. Let's see. David Body says, OMG, Steve, this gives me flashbacks to Hostess Snack Kick ads and comic books.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Oh, yeah.
We've just invented the Hostess Pie thing again. Yeah.
We sure did. Are those gone?
Oh, yeah, they've been doing they're
the ads are
homages to
gone.
them.
The pies are
ads
still around.
The pies are still around.
The
pies will probably outlast the next ice age.
Yeah, exactly. That were made back then, even. Yeah. And then Sean Duggan says, the prophesied laser sword wielding farm boy engaged in guerrilla warfare against the evil empire, otherwise known as the rightful Starhaven government. Sure. Why not?
There's room for that if that's your jam.
Yeah, absolutely. A question: if I cash all of my patron cred, can I get Crystal to finally watch Babylon 5?
I mean, that's like 400 hours of investment.
Right?
It really is.
That's like at least our like $2,000 tier, on the Patreon.
Yeah, when we hit $2,000, I will start live streaming me watching through Babylon 5.
Yeah, you get to watch. Yeah, I'm not personally a mega fan of the show. I'm trying to remember the name of that alien with the with the big forehead and the spiky hair, kind of like looks like
Oh, Sonic.
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
That's where it came from. I love it. Apuk says, "I'm going to hold you to that." Okay, Apuk, get to donating.
Right?
get to contributing. I think the real question is, are the aliens rightfully obsessed with Foghat? Asked Sean Duggan. The Centauri. Okay, thank you, Apuk. I didn't realize. Now we've activated Apuk. We're going to be getting all kinds of Babylon 5
Oh no.
facts.
Right.
Ay.
Don't make
right.
me start talking Stargate lore, because here's the thing: the main antagonist from that series, that's actually, I'm descended from a family of the same name,
You're related to.
the Goa'uld. Yes.
Nice. Well, there you go. Yeah, don't mess. I love it. Let's see. David Biden says, "Don't worry, Crystal. You only have to watch the first 4 seasons of Babylon 5." With
Actually, you
a
only
smiley
have to watch the middle 3.
My roommate loves Babylon 5, and she has a curated watch list for season 1 so that you can hit all of the major story
Essential.
points and then get out.
One of my favorite
only way to
kinds
do
of
it.
yeah, I love that. One of my favorite kinds of people who will curate and say, that's don't really, they really get into the meta of it and kind of share that stuff with you. Ted Sunderton says over and over, yeah, that's right. We are getting close to the final moments here. Anything, Crystal, do you have anything that you want folks to check out or see? Any news to share? Any, other things cooking on the writing front?
I mean, I can be self-indulgent for a moment and say the first issue of Gamma Flight hits store shelves later this month. So please get out to your friendly local comic book shop, place an order if you haven't already. Keep your eyes peeled. I don't remember exactly what week it'll drop. I'm sure my editor will tell me the day after.
So talk a little bit about Gamma Flight
He's
as a
very
project.
busy.
What is your, yeah.
Gamma Flight is a spin-off from the Immortal Hulk. I'm writing it with Al Ewing, who is basically the Steve Kenson of the comic book world. He is sweet and thoughtful and a genius and knows everything.
That is like our
and-
Steve. I like that.
I don't see the resemblance, but
But he has been wonderful to work with, and it is a book about Gamma Flight, who was a team the government assembled to take down the Hulk, who decided, no, we're not going to take down the Hulk. He's the one who makes the most sense in this scenario. And so they've gone on the lam. And if you've read Immortal Hulk, it is very much a book about trauma and surviving trauma. And this is kind of a book about starting to recover from trauma.
Crystal, is it the
Gotcha.
Canadian government who's sending Gamma Flight to do with them?
no, the Canadian government issued a cease and desist. But I mean, who pays attention to them?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm reading this right now. They talked about they sanctioned the team, but the Gamma Flight first appeared in Alpha Flight episode, or not episode.
This is like the 5th incarnation of a team called Gamma Flight.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. So we're talking like back in the 80s, like 83. But
It has Titania in it, who is probably my favorite villain, and she gets a couple of fun one-liners.
Excellent.
Right on. Well, that's exciting news, and we'll keep everybody posted, and we'll share some details via our Twitter, which you will find on Twitter at Green Ronin Pub. Steve, how about you? You got anything you want to share? Any Patreon goods or?
I have things I want to share, but unfortunately I can't because I'm carefully observing my NDAs. As far as all of that goes. So, but keeping myself busy. Fun stuff coming up.
All right. Well, keep your eyes out. We will be sure to amplify the message as soon as Steve is contractually able to share the good news. Alex, how about you?
We have a special recap episode of Nether War on tonight because I will be away. So my players will be talking about their favorite moments from the first 33 episodes that we've had so far.
Oh wow!
Has it been
How
that?
have you had that many episodes so far?
At least that's the way they're broken up on YouTube. I think it's
okay.
I think it's 18 on Twitch. I think we've been going for 18 weeks now.
Wow.
Still a lot.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
So they're breaking down the prologue, which Crystal was a guest star for, where she played Seven.
I remember that.
Right.
I remember like
It
kind of a
sounds-
southern accent. Am I right?
Oh, different game I was in.
Oh shoot! Okay.
I completely ruined one of Alex's favorite characters that he writes.
Oh, she was awesome. She's
It was
just the main
beautiful.
character. It's fine. And you should not ruin her. Teutonic Tartlet has been added to my vernacular.
Awesome stuff. Hey, Alex, a question for you. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was just going to say I also have 2 books coming out this year that we are closing in on finishing up.
Awesome.
Very cool. And now, as I understand it, so you work doing stuff for Mutants and Masterminds. You stream and have some fun there. You write some books, and you also are you doing a one-man show of Oklahoma? Is that what Is that it?
No, I am doing a multiple-person show of Arsenic and Old Lace. I'm playing the part of Teddy Brewster.
Very cool. So you're actually up on stage doing that stuff, and that's what you're doing this evening, right? You're doing some.
I will actually from here. I'm going to go shave down to my Teddy Roosevelt mustache and not want to look at my face for the whole rest of the week.
That is
I
awesome.
think we're all excited.
I can't wait to see that. Honestly, we are demanding that you keep that on. All right, good. Please do. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's that 1 hour every Monday where we get to just have some fun, talk about Mutants and Masterminds, hang out with these beautiful, wonderful human beings. And, of course, folks in the chat as well, you are a great part of our day and a great part of kicking our week off, and we enjoy it. We hope you enjoy the Summer of Starhaven. We've got a lot of stuff planned, and we'll tell you all about it. Make sure you check out the Patreon, patreon.com/mutants A&D Masterminds, and stay tuned for this whole time. I didn't even look to see who the next villain would be, but we'll share that. If you want to know, better join the Patreon. It'll be someone remarkable, no doubt. Crystal.
And next week we have Alien Politics.
That's right. Now, real quick, am I to understand that the three of you will be coming on to share? You will be kind of representatives of those particular thoughts or those 3 schools of political thought?
We're gonna do our best, but I am thousands of miles away from my fake mustache collection.
That's true. That is true. Very true.
Gotta work with what you got.
That's right.
After Arsenic and Old Lace, I'll shave off mine and I'll mail it to you, Crystal. If you need it.
Oh, that's very sweet of you.
So thoughtful. See the bonds we build.
As you know, a mustache cannot be given; it can only be won in combat.
Right. That is the way.
I swear to God, that is another T-shirt. I think is what we're hearing. All right, everybody. Thanks again for watching. We will see you next Monday. Make sure to tune in Thursday as well. We'll be hanging out with Owen Casey Stevens for Thursday. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.